To know who we are, and where we're going, we must know how we arrived here. Welcome to Rephetic, a revolutionary study of the Great Pyramid, which promises to rewrite civilization's history. Welcome to the Rephetic podcast. Jen.
Dave.
You're there. Aunt Jen.
Here I am, Uncle Dave.
And joining us today, Miss Patty.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Patty.
She's doing producer double detail here. She's punching in Google keywords.
Are you paying her twice?
She's not getting paid at all.
I work for free.
She's getting paid the same thing I am.
All right, me too.
Yay.
Yeah, she's Googling gelato.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah.
It said the nearest gelato near me is Dave's Deli and Gelato.
Of
Whoa.
course.
What are the chances?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a new show coming out called Dave. I saw some ad for it.
Oh.
Anyway, I'm sure I'm not starring in it. Anyway. So springtime, we're about ready to release this here podcast. This one, episode 11. Heck, this is going to be sometime in May, I think. I don't know. Anyway, my hope was to get like 13 in the can before I started launching. Because I know.
Well, you're only 2 away.
Yeah, I know. But or I guess you're number 10 this Wednesday.
Okay.
Big Dave, friend of mine's coming on. He's number 11.
All right.
But the thing is, I know, like, I'll skip a week, and then, I only have 12 in the can. So by the end of the year, here's what it's going to be. I have to record something on Wednesday and have it done so I can release it on Monday. That's just how it's going to go. I know it's going to go that way. So I'm doing everything I can to avoid that.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so you just got back from the Sioux, huh?
I did. Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan.
6 on, 6 off?
Well, yeah, but I don't want it to be confused with Sault Ste. Marie, Canada.
Okay. Like,
well,
what's the risk? What's the risk of that misinterpretation?
Because I'm not working in Canada.
Wow.
I mean, geez. So close.
Yeah.
There are some people who work there who
cross over
every day.
Yeah, that seems to be a thing. Border crossings in the south to Mexico and the north to Canada.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. People do it all the time.
They do, and it's especially difficult in the summer months. They sometimes sit on the bridge for a long time when tourism is at its height.
Oh, like they're late to work? They got to go through customs. You got to leave all that time to go through customs. Yeah.
Yeah. They get to know the custom officials by first name.
Yeah, what we're missing on this podcast is video. Frosty here has to be a part of everything that's going on. Jen, you asked about podcasts with Steve, so we did one, and obviously I have video of that as well. But we did 2 hours. It was 5 a.m. Frosty would not leave us alone. So he's here bugging Patty. He won't leave us alone.
He played the piano. He played the piano on yours.
Oh, yeah. Steve and I were talking. It's on video. Frosty reaches up, hammers the keys. It was like, what are you doing? Steve's like, does he take requests? It was funny.
Yeah, I haven't listened to the one with Steve yet, but I'm going to, as soon as my brother Dave sends it to me.
Well, I just, again, yes. But anyway, it's the distribution is off, right?
Oh, right.
I'm saying when I do one and I fire it out to the people that were on, like I just did one with my buddy Jack, chef. Yeah. So I send it to him, but I'm not thinking about sending it to the other, 40 people that have listened to the other ones, right?
Right.
So, anyway, in short order, it's the response is going to be just follow along on the podcast and listen. And yours is going to come up, I don't know when. But I'll send you Steve's. No big deal.
All right.
So this is Patty's first time on the mic. This is interesting.
Welcome, Patty.
Thank you.
Yeah. You got a face for radio. No, just kidding. Just kidding, baby.
I've been told that.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it, Patty. You're beautiful.
That's funny. Well, so I was at Steve's. Aaron. Guess where Aaron is today?
Where is Aaron?
He is in Orlando, Florida. They went there for spring break.
Oh,
Yeah. His girlfriend,
yeah.
his girlfriend's mom. So he's his first time in a plane yesterday.
Flying from the nest.
Yeah. So they're going to have fun down there.
That's good.
Yeah. But he was saying, he's like, hey, if you want to go maybe up north this spring, summer. I was like, yeah, okay, I get it. After your $1,200 spring break trip, you know.
He wants to come fishing.
Yeah, I imagine. I don't know if Lily would go or if Patty's in the middle of job change, I think.
Oh,
maybe.
Maybe.
Probably forced to now.
Speaking
of flying the nest, yeah.
The cat's out of the bag, Patty.
Right.
I guess you gotta quit now.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna have a choice now anyway.
Yeah,
They took me out of the group sales chat already, so.
Oh no.
I think I'm done.
They took her key. No, she didn't have
Oh,
a key.
No. I was supposed to start somewhere tomorrow, new, but I had signed a non-compete, so there's that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who'd have thought?
Yep.
You just gotta violate that shit. Nobody's taking you to court.
Nobody cares.
See,
it's too expensive.
If he did take you to court, it would come out in deposition that he owes you a couple grand from this last month, which he doesn't want to pay on top of the court costs, on top of the lawyer fee. He doesn't want to pay any of that.
Right.
It's just a threat. Nobody's taking nobody to court. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway.
So
all right, so how's St. Charles?
Cold.
Well, it's 22 degrees this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, you poor things.
Yeah.
But enough about the weather.
I feel bad for you.
No, you don't.
I don't, not even a little bit.
We're only a couple of degrees. You're like 20, I think. We're 24 degrees today.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. So stay warm.
Stay inside.
Yeah, stay inside.
Gotta have a good breakfast.
You see something there, Margie.
You know what? Norm, Prowler needs a jump.
Hun? Yeah. Whoa. That's a great shot, hey? He's sitting there. It just takes forever. She walks out. She gets in the car. It don't start. She comes back in. It's like, welcome to the north.
It's literally every single day.
Oh,
like that.
Something.
So yesterday, my daughter Marina and I, you know her. We went to this Queen tribute concert in Appleton, Wisconsin this weekend, which was phenomenal. This band called Killer Queen from England. Nice. Second time we've seen them. Oh. The first time was this little intimate bar setting, right? Like there was no chairs, just the floor. Mm-hmm. Maybe 200 people stand up and dance and sing along and party the whole time. Like it was a great concert.
Yeah.
That was a few years ago. Maybe right before COVID. And then this time it's the Kimberly Clark Pack Theater, which is like a theater, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's packed.
Like an actual venue.
Yes. Thousands of seats, and it's filled to the brim. And it was amazing. It was fantastic. So they're much bigger now than they were. But we knew them when.
Oh.
Anyway, so
back in the day.
Back in the day.
Before they sold out.
Yeah. We went to this concert, but we went to drive home yesterday, and there's all this, hoopla about this storm coming. We're supposed to get 18 inches. We didn't. It rained instead. But coming home, we get about an hour from home, and this blistery wind starts, and it had snowed, like this powdery fine snow. So then the wind starts, you can't see anything, right? I get home, my car's off for an hour, and we get back in the car to go get some stuff for their house remodeling. And my tires must have frozen a sensor. So my brake light's on, my tire sensor's on,
check engine
my
light,
traction control light's on, my check engine light's on. And
the whole works, eh?
The whole works. All these lights are on, and they're flashing at me. And Marina's boyfriend is a mechanic, so I stop at their house because they're, of course, 3 blocks away. He's like, your tires just froze after your drive. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
You just don't have analog brakes.
Right.
I said, okay, so I just have to pump the brakes. He says, yeah, you learn to drive on those cars. It's no big deal.
ABS, right?
Right, yeah, but you don't have traction control. And I was like, okay. He's like, just be careful because every road is frozen.
Yeah.
It's just another day.
Right.
Living here.
No,
but
yeah, people.
It didn't stop me from doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
because it would stop other people,
Yeah.
Anyway, 15 miles down the road, all the lights went off. It must have thawed out with the sand and the salt and whatever. Anyway, that's my story.
Nice story. Yeah, people
of the frozen tundra.
No, it doesn't matter down here for real. We don't have to deal with mostly any of that.
Yeah.
But
it would have stopped somebody else. They would have gone to the mechanic, called a tow truck, or what's going on? Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, what about all that? What about all these gadgets that you don't fucking need on a car? I need a backup sensor. I need a lane assist thing. What are we talking about?
Forward collision warning.
I turn all that stuff off as much as I can.
Unplug it. Well, I mean, it's nice. It's nice to have it.
Well,
I mean, I don't have all of that stuff. You know what I do have on my car that I really, really like is when I turn in my right blinker.
Yeah.
I have a camera coming off of my right mirror.
Yeah.
So if I'm turning right and there's a car over there or some obstacle, it shows me the right side of my car.
Like a moose chasing you down the road?
Yeah, or a deer. I don't know. Small child.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
I do like that camera.
Okay.
That's a Honda feature.
Exclusive. It is.
It is exclusive to Honda.
You don't drive a Honda.
To that.
Doesn't she?
I do.
See?
I do.
Now a CRV? What are you driving?
HRV.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay. Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
He was shaking his head at me.
Listen to that salesperson over there. Also, the safety rating on Honda, man.
And your accident was in a Honda too, right?
The same exact car. An HRV.
And what were your sustained injuries?
Very minimal. I had a couple fractured ribs. Hit my head on the window, and I had some gouges, I think, from the like on my arm from the airbag, the side airbag.
Yeah.
But it was a rollover accident, and I was completely, no piece of metal collapsed towards me in my safety cocoon of my seat.
Right.
I was protected.
Nice.
And Chad didn't like that car when I bought it. Like, he was uncomfortable in it. He's a big guy. Right. It's a smaller car, and it's an SUV, but a small SUV, and he wasn't comfortable in it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't really like this car. And I said, I don't care. It's my car. So I bought it anyway. And then I had that accident, and he saw the car and looked at me at my minimal injuries. And that was on a Friday. And on Monday, we went and bought the exact same car in a different color, a year newer.
Do you think it was the color that caused the accident?
Well, no, I think it was the Ford Bronco that tried to turn left from the middle lane that caused the accident, actually.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Or it was being in Fargo.
Yeah.
It's not a great place to live.
Don't say that. We're gonna have future fan clubs in Fargo.
That's great. That's great. I was not happy there. I have a magnet on my fridge. You can use it for my next podcast as my picture.
Oh, yeah.
It says
King of Queens.
No, it says I once lived in Fargo. Really?
Yeah, really.
Really?
You sent me that wood chipper shirt. That was great.
Yeah. I saw the wood chipper.
I know.
The actual wood chipper.
Yeah. Did you take a selfie?
I have some pictures from that, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Funny.
They have a fake one. They have a fake one outside for when the museum's closed, and then they have the real one inside.
Oh, wow.
It's funny. It's such a popular attraction.
There's a double, a stand-in double.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Nice.
Anyway.
I bet this stand-in makes half the money that the real one does.
Maybe a quarter of the money.
Right. We need scale. Inequity. Oh, okay. So since we last talked, this might be interesting. Maybe, I don't know, but the opportunity seems to have presented itself where you two could yap about me and critique the goings on of the author creative guy. Like, how silly is it to listen to this stuff?
I don't know if silly would be the word I would use.
Traumatic.
Dramatic.
Yeah, traumatic. It's not traumatic for me. How about you, Patty?
No, not traumatic. Dramatic for me.
Dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you have to live with it.
Every day.
By it, I mean him.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, he's loud and proud.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead. Sorry.
Our last conversation, Dave, you referred to the hysterical phone call.
Oh yeah.
That you made to me, and at the time we questioned, was it genius versus sanity?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the what is that? The fine line between madness and genius, whatever.
Yeah.
Who knows that? How would you know?
Well, you wouldn't know because, the crazy don't know they're crazy.
Yeah.
Patty.
Okay.
Right.
They think they're brilliant.
Right.
Okay.
And so begs the question.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, I'm not going to make any claim. I'm not going to make any claim either side of that line. But I was watching a movie or something too. They were talking about that. Oh, and I was listening to a podcast the other day.
Was the movie Rango?
Yeah, well, Rango. We watched Rango. It's so good.
That's
Johnny Depp and the voices and the whole thing when he's doing the actor part. Have you watched it, Jen? Since when's the last time?
A long time ago.
Okay, well, you got to break it out again. It's on Netflix because it's awesome. Just him and he's doing the actor part,
Yeah.
And he's cleared his throat and he's doing his voice warm-ups and everything. It was really good.
Yeah, I have Miss Kennedy tomorrow. Maybe we'll watch it tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So all these people, man, it doesn't matter who it is. Philip Seymour Hoffman, who is the Joker guy, Heath Ledger, Robin Williams. Like you watch the Actors Studio with Robin Williams or whatever. Yeah. You watch anything he's doing, especially the improv stuff. His brain.
Oh right. Also, Jim Carrey has a book also.
Yeah, Jim Carrey too.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like you flip that switch and they're in another world. Like both, so their brain accesses the body, their whole physiology just morphs into this other person.
Right. Well, I think also you have to be a little mad to take on what you've taken on.
Well, okay.
So I've said it.
Yeah.
Patty, you don't have to.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Jen.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Okay, but it's not, I just talked with my chef buddy Jack about this same thing. You don't have to be any particular kind of crazy or mad or whatever, in order to be given an idea or pursue it or have some creative inspiration, So I don't think maybe it's different. Maybe. What do you think, Jen? I mean, because
I don't think that this is merely just creative inspiration. This isn't just, hey, I have everybody's got a book in them, right?
Yeah.
That's what they say, whatever. I've got a book in me
too.
Yeah. I just want somebody else to rate it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's what this is. I don't think that this is, hey, I want to paint, or I want to write a book, or I want to, do whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever it is the person wants to do. That's not what this is.
Okay.
This is
okay. Well, tell me, because I can't wait to hear what it is.
This is much, much, much bigger.
Okay. Dave. Yeah. Well, I mean, it appears to be okay.
Yeah. Okay. For appearance's sake.
Yeah.
It appears to be much bigger.
Yeah.
So I think, and I don't know if it was at its inception that you realized what that was, or at what point.
Right.
That knocked you over the head, or if it was gradual or whatever. As Kennedy would say, I can't read your mind. Out of the mouths of babes. Right. 4-year-old wisdom.
Yeah.
I know that when I read your paper is when I came to that realization, and it was kind of a knock me over the head.
Yeah.
Realization.
Yeah.
Of how big this actually was.
Yeah, Anna mentioned that too. Also, that it kind of just set in on her. I guess more immediately. Like when I first kind of described it, she was like, "Wait, you mean we've been here before? We've done all, yeah."
Right.
Well, Jeremy, I don't know if you listen to Jeremy's interview as well, but he mentioned it too because he's read like the book draft up to chapter 10, whatever.
Yeah.
And so anyway, like there's the material, right? There's the facts and the whatever, and then there's my response to the facts,
right,
or whatever, if that's transformative, if it's impactful, or any sort of epiphany realization. So you read the paper, it's like, hey, this thing is pretty big. And I guess here's for my part of that, like it obviously, and even in the story channel, it's like, well, yeah, here's just a creative daydream kind of thing. And, that, that is what it is. But then it started to grow. It's like, first it was curious, but it was about a 6-week thing, I think. And then, I told you the story about, when I first digested the when, it's like, wait, if this started as a butte, then we have this consequential when. So if you find the oldest tomb, that tomb couldn't be there until the project was completed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so it's like, it places the build before a certain date. So the absolute latest date, and that seems to be about 3100, 3150 BC. And so that the day that settled in, I was like, really? So we're talking about some sophisticated prehistoric civilization, right? Plato's Atlantis, however you want to describe it or whatever you want to call it. Because I always looked kind of askance at those claims. It's like, yeah, but where's the evidence? What's the justification? I mean, I didn't rule it out, but there wasn't, seemed like there wasn't a convincing argument to say that it was actually a factual historical representation, other than its source, right, being Egyptian, et cetera, et cetera. But the day that I knew that, or the when consequence, I really had to. I mean, just like you, or Jeremy, I knew at that point that this was obviously beyond my capacity at the time, right? Beyond my knowledge, beyond my skill level, which is kind of which is frontier. Let's say it's frontier thinking or frontier action. It's like, wait, I'm going to do something. It's beyond my capacity, or that has some outcome you couldn't possibly predict, right?
Right.
But the scope of it, all of a sudden, time and place, the scope goes from me to, oh, I've got this creative idea, to, oh, we're talking about, ancient Egyptian pyramids, particularly Giza's pyramids, particularly the Great Pyramid, and everything that's been written on it and observed, especially like the last 2,400 years of Western history, right? And then more particularly the last 200 years. It's like, there's a thing sitting in the desert over there, right? It is like it is the keystone of our global civilization's narrative.
Right.
And
what we know about it is potentially wrong.
Yes. Yeah. What we think we know appears perhaps inaccurate. The whole thing's mired in this crisis, which you wouldn't know if you just read a couple casual academic books or popular books on the subject. You would not know that it's mired in this Cunian crisis. You wouldn't know what the points of contention are, right? Unless you go back, in particular to Petrie, people that described the early evidence, did the early survey, this kind of thing. If you have all of the factual descriptions, you don't need any of the following 999 books, right? It's like,
right.
And so, as you read them all, or not, a significant number of them, you're like, you mean we don't, there's very little we know about this, yet it is the cornerstone of our cultural narrative of Western and Eastern culture, civilization, right? Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden the scope just expands, like an EMP, some kind of pulse expansion, where everything is somehow nested in this core conflict, core reality. Everything that everybody knows is nested in this core reality, right? More or less the history of 100 billion people. And there at the cornerstone of all this is the enigma and the riddle and the mystery of the Great Pyramid. Now, just the scope of that is phenomenal, right? Mm-hmm. So, but the casual observer, or, you watch some documentaries, you go down some YouTube rabbit holes, you read a few Orthodox books, maybe you read a few of the alternative books, right? And you come to find out Nikola Tesla was interested in the facts of the pyramid. Newton sought the Earth's circumference through the perimeter dimensions of the Great Pyramid. The father of Western history, Herodotus, the Greek travel writer, let's call him a travel writer. Okay, the fact that we have the word history comes from him, his story, right? And he describes the Great Pyramid, and he describes the translation he was given. But when he writes it, we're a supposed 2,000 years removed from when the pyramid was supposedly constructed. And here we are, 2,000, give or take, 2,400 years after Herodotus. So it's ancient to him. He's ancient to us. Meanwhile, nobody knows what the fuck the thing is or how it was built, right? So, but what we're talking about is both the scope and then it's like the scope applied to one person as a project, right?
Right. So
I think that's where I got lost initially. It's like the weight of that built up. I guess maybe over it had to be about a year. It's like, am I really doing this thing? Like Jen, I mean, this is more like inside baseball, right? But I would go down to the coffee shop if I was peeling away, obviously, and I was broke at the time. It was like, it was all pathetic, right? So, not much has changed, but anyway, Jen, I remember driving or pulling up to the coffee shop, and I was just weepy. I was just weeping because it was like, and maybe there's no way to do it without blowing it out of proportion. I think.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think there's any way to blow it out of proportion.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You could blow it as big as you could possibly imagine in your tiny little brain.
Yeah.
And it's still not blown out of proportion.
Okay. So
is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So like it enters that realm where it cannot be overstated, right?
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, you can't overstate. It's a fantastic thing. Just even the idea of the butte is fantastic. Then the mechanical, the thermodynamic interpretation is fantastic. Like the whole thing is fantastic. But then you talk about the impact on history as we know it, sure.
Yeah, the assumptions based on assumptions. And then we all just are given this on a platter.
Yeah.
Right? This is your dinner and you're going to eat it. And then we do.
Yeah. Okay, right?
Yeah.
But then whatever pulls you out of that, it's, well come on now. Obviously, it's the Neo shock when they explain to him what the Matrix is, right? He's like, he's going to pop, But, so, yeah.
Well, your meltdown was bound to come.
Yeah, but it was short-lived. Let's not overstate the meltdown either.
No, right,
like,
right. It was a brief moment in time.
I didn't need to be hospitalized. I didn't, I still had my faculties about me. Yeah. I was just overwhelmed for the time being, and just to adjust, I guess adjust to it.
Yeah.
So then the challenge is, well, and I guess I might cover this in the writing and the modeling updates, like between now and publication, right? Is like, and this will be the part where you sound crazy and stupid. It's like, how do you stay right-sized, right? How do you stay right-sized? I'm just fulfilling a curious, childlike question. I'm just writing the words down, right? We're just exploring this hypotheses and interpretation. Mm-hmm. And, the geological foundation seems sound. The evidence suggests the mechanical interpretation, right? In this new Butte environment or the Butte universe as I identify it. So all of its constituent parts are rather simple to understand, right? Mm-hmm. But then if you let yourself think about it, if I let myself think about it, well, this is the cornerstone that rewrites civilization's history. One creative, inspired daydream. And mm-hmm. if you can you execute on the reasons and the logic? Can you execute on the interpretation and deliver it? Can you do it in the, let's say, the popular discussion like we're having now? Can you reasonably explore these ideas? It's still a little unconventional, right? The popular discussion is not the conventional academic paper submission, peer review, publisher takes on the book. We check with, 3 or 4 experts, and there's pushback on some of the content, right? And mm-hmm. finally you go to publication, and then there's a discussion about it, right? Or you do this in the journal sense, right? And then there's debate and pushback. It's like, well, here's the evidence, here's the interpretation, where's the counter argument, where's the debate? That's the conventional way to do it, which is fine. But we're going to start this popular discussion, which is a little unconventional, right? But I think the timing is good. But between now and publication, and then even obviously after publication, I've got a good out. I can just say, well, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe the interpretation doesn't hold water. Yeah, obviously it needs to be tested and experiments need to be done. There's a whole appendix about further research, right? It's just a point in time, a set of ideas. There's follow-up. It's an ongoing discussion. It's ongoing research, modeling, testing, experimentation, and then the debate within the concerned communities: archaeology, history, engineering, sociology, anthropology, you name it, right? Paleoclimatology, whatever. Come on. It's like the discussion within concerned disciplines, global studies, you name it, right? And at the origin.
Don't leave out the religion.
Oh, well, yeah. Theological considerations.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay. This is where we're in the weeds. Right?
Economies.
Stop. The political science, right?
Right.
Okay.
It's literally everybody.
Yeah. Listen, but with a few exceptions. Okay, studies which have originated fully independent, right? Such, let's say, electronics. Let's say, the invention of the what is it? Shoot, I just forgot what it was. Which just allowed all the electronics to proliferate. Shit. Okay, forget that. But anyway, let's say computer science didn't evolved completely independent of whatever could have happened, 12,000 years ago. Right. Certain things happened surely independent of whatever was known prior. But then everything else seems to have this is rooted in this causal reality or causal effect, right?
Right.
So here's a cause, there's all the effects. Mm-hmm. And if you, but again, just like the adoption analogy, if you don't know what the initial cause was, you can't even see the dots for what they are, much less connect them, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. So back to what we're talking about, which is like some overwhelming scope, and then how do you stay right sized with that? How do you follow it to its conclusion? And then this is something I keep repeating, obviously, with Anna, with Patty, with you, with everybody else, with Jeremy also, is nobody's going to have any idea until they can read through the thing, right? Just like you, just like Jeremy. Is you come from that point of call it ignorance, call it you're living an illusory history up to the present. So the present is illusory too. If it's nested in each of the last days, and you're 100 generations removed from the cause of the illusion or whatever, it's all nested.
Yeah, you can't know what you don't know.
And you can't know the effect of what you don't know. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until
well, this
you know
is
it.
Huh?
Until you know it, and then it's a choice.
Yeah, but that's crazy. This is crazy land.
Well, yeah.
What is that static? I'm hearing static. I don't know. Oh, it's gone.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's crazy land. So what?
Right. So a popular saying that I use all the time is, when you know better, you do better. You can't ignore new information.
Okay.
Right? Like, you raise your children to be better than what you were raised. When you know better, you do better.
Okay.
You can't ignore learning how to do something better than somebody before you, or better than you knew it before you.
Right.
Before you knew the new information, whatever. A new way to do something. And I use this in work all the time. Evidence-based practice.
Right.
That's how medicine evolves, advances.
Right.
Is constantly studying new ways, better ways to do something and unfortunately, it's based on patient harms.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, a patient gets harmed because of some, we've always done it this way.
Misstep, misjudgment, or whatever. Short-sighted decisions. Whatever. Sure.
Or whatever. Or we've always done it this way. Well, I learn a lot from new nurses coming out of nursing school.
Yeah.
Because they have the best, newest information.
Yeah, best practices, whatever.
And they're like, oh, hey, this is what we just learned to do it this way. And I'm like, oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm going to start doing it that way.
And so, but you couldn't have seen it before.
Right.
You just don't know.
Because you just don't know, and you're just caught in your routine, and you just do it this way because you've always done it this way, and it's just, whatever. It's easier, it's quicker, it's whatever. And the only constant thing in life, is change. And people hate change.
Yeah, we're averse to change. Yeah.
It drives me insane.
Okay, so that topic alone is we have the known unknowns, then we have the unknown unknowns, right?
Yep.
And meanwhile, we're trying to navigate this stuff with reason and with evidence.
Yeah.
And this is called learning.
Right.
And then application of what we're learning, and epistemological advance. Okay. Wait. There's one more thing in this, and I don't know where I cover this. I don't know if I cover it in chapter 1 or chapter 2, but okay. There's a requirement to be wrong first. You never, in any situation, it doesn't matter whether it's a child maturing into teenage years or becoming adult, whatever it is, or a culture, a society, a given a science or study. You start off being wrong. You have to be wrong, right? This is the type 1, type 2 errors. So you can make all the inclusions you want, that the data feedback might be this, might be that, right? And you always want to include other possible causes or some data feedback loop or whatever the deal is. But in doing so, you're going to be wrong. With almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you add yesterday's learning on top of being wrong, and then today you're a little more accurate, or a little more practiced, or a little better knowledge, a little better application.
A little less wrong.
Yeah, a little less wrong. Yeah. These are the least possibly wrong things I could do today.
Right. So, back in the day when I had 3 teenagers in the house, I used to tell them that all the time. You raising kids, especially teenagers, you say to them all the time, you just have to tell the truth. Like, you're going to be in a lot less trouble if you just tell the truth, right? And they inevitably lie, whatever. I used to say to my kids all the time, you're supposed to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be wrong. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
You can't possibly learn anything if you're right all the time.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you're saying. So I said this to them their entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to be wrong. My 4-year-old granddaughter, Kennedy, thought that she broke the remote the other day, and she was terrified. Her face was red. She was scared to come tell me, right?
Yeah.
So she dropped it on the floor, and the back popped off.
Right.
She thought that she broke it. And so she comes up to me, and she's shaking. She's so scared.
Oh.
And like, I'm like her favorite person, right? Like, 'cause she can have whatever she wants. She touches something in the store, and she's like, Grandma, can I have that? And the answer is always yes. So she comes up to me, and I'm like, honey, what's the matter? And she's like, I broke this. And I said, you don't ever have to be scared to tell me anything. You can tell me anything in the whole entire world. You don't ever have to be scared. I said, but you didn't break it. It's easy to fix. See? And I fixed it for her. And she said, even if I broke it, I could tell you. And I said, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a piece of, plastic. It's no big deal. She said, if I dropped your phone in the bathtub, I could tell you. Like, she automatically was like, what else could I possibly tell her? Where I wouldn't automatically go to, like, where her mom would go.
Yeah. That's funny.
So yes, you're supposed to be wrong. You're supposed to get in trouble. You're supposed to do things. There's no other way to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a requirement.
There's probably other ways to learn, but
I don't know. That's not been my experience.
Not mine either. But,
okay,
no,
so
that's
the requirement.
That's not true. Wait, I have learned other ways.
Just from other people's examples? What are you saying?
I grew up with 3 older brothers who did things the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I looked at them and said, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I think, sure. Okay, right. There are rare exceptions where I'll learn from somebody else.
I did learn that way.
Yeah, so this requirement to be wrong, or like you're saying now, like, this is, this is really obviously opposite of how we were raised, but I think most people, as my experience has been, is most people teach me to lie to them. That's what's going on. Okay? People are teaching me to lie to them by their inappropriate responses to honest reality. So,
I would agree with you.
Okay.
People don't like honesty. No,
not at all.
Yeah.
But now take the other example, and then this is all a scale. None of these are absolutes. There's a sliding scale, obviously.
Yeah.
But if I don't overreact to the honesty, let's say from kids or whomever, if I don't overreact to honest disclosure, mistakes, whatever that looks like, people are more encouraged to be thoroughly honest about what's going on.
Yeah, positive feedback versus negative feedback.
Yeah. Now imagine a world. Well, 2 worlds. One, I got the same punishment whether I was honest or whether I lied. So what am I going to do? I'm going to lie first.
Lying, yeah.
First, last, and all the time. That was the programming I received.
Right.
So if the outcome is the same, I'm going to lie first. Try to get away with whatever the stupid thing is. There's no incentive to be honest. Okay.
Right.
So, well, that's ridiculous. That's a horrible way to be raised. That's a horrible way also to parent. And then, the proof's in the pudding, you know? Yeah. So with my sons or anyone else, it's like, and I told my sons, like, listen, no matter what you do or don't do or whatever, if you are honest about it, you'll never get in trouble. I'm never going to punish you for being honest about whatever you've done or doing or thinking or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, because life's hard enough, right? Right. If life is going to beat you into submission and teach you all these lessons, you don't need your parents doing it for you. Or adding on to life's utter beating and suffering. Right. Parents, trusted friends, family, whatever, is there to reinforce as I'm getting beat up in life. I need this security.
A safe zone.
Yeah. So, obviously a lot of parents, a lot of people, our parents included, kind of had it all ass backwards and whatever,
Yeah.
So we got to undo that and then try something new. And then maybe, like you talk about or have talked about, is enter into this, like as purely honest as we can get about who we are. And that, again, that's more of the perennial analysis. It can't be done with self-deception. It can't be done with dishonesty. It can't be done with self-serving narratives, be it cultural or individual. Okay?
Yeah.
You can't get to an accurate assessment. You can't have an accurate history unless you're teaching all the bullshit as well. Right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But how stupid is it, though, to just take these Pollyannish self-serving narratives? Let's say, the manifest destiny narrative of the creation, the expansion to the West, the birth of the U.S., right? It's just a million points of light on the hill. That's who we are. No. That's the fucking story.
I know.
How stupid and naive and self-serving and ignorant and irreflective of the facts is that story? Could you have a story? Could you have a story that ignores the facts more than that story?
No.
Okay.
No.
So tell me, what's the accurate story? What's an accurate life story? What's an accurate story of a nation, of a people, of a culture, of civilization?
Well, I was trying to think of how this this story actually went. So it's a matter of perspective, right? Like, so I go on these world traveling adventures, and I was on a cruise, and depending on the destination of the cruise depends on the nationality of the passengers. It's really quite interesting. But we were on this Northern England cruise, and there was quite a few people from England on this cruise.
Yeah.
And it was quote unquote Columbus Day.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a very young American couple, and it was very apparent to me what assholes we are.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I was embarrassed by the behavior of Americans, because this is like post-COVID, people are just trying to get back to traveling. So one American on an elevator says to a British person, "I'm not wearing a mask in this elevator. I'm from the U.S. and I don't have to wear a mask if I don't want to."
Right.
Right. Like everybody else on the ship is wearing a mask, but this one American is like, "Can't tell me what to do."
Yeah.
So anyway, just go along to get along, just protect everybody else, just follow the rules, you know?
Okay. But in the extreme, let me just throw this in there. But in the extreme, there's horrible downfalls with to just go along to get along.
Okay. I'm just saying there are rules on the boat. You agreed to those rules.
Oh, they already should they already agreed to them. Yeah, I get it.
They already agreed to them, and then they get on there and I'm from the U.S., so I can do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just anyway. So we're sitting in this cigar bar outside of the casino on the boat, and we have made some friends from London that Chad and I are sitting with, and this very young American couple. Were actually quarantined crossing the transatlantic before this cruise. So they're finally let out of their room. And he's from Colorado. And he's on the cruise to look for somewhere to move.
Right.
Because he gets off the boat at every stop because he wants to find out what their marijuana laws are in other countries. Right. And he says, nobody really wants to talk about marijuana over here. I said, that's because it's not legal. Like, they're not talking about it because it's against the law. He goes, well, I just want to find a piece of land where I can grow what I want to grow and nobody bothers me. And I looked at him and I said, you already live there.
Yeah, that's funny.
You live in Colorado.
Right.
Weed is already legal. You live in the United States, land of the free.
Right.
What are you doing? He's like 23 years old.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like, the grass isn't greener, buddy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And maybe as green as it gets.
Well, yeah. In his backyard. And he's higher than a kite every day. And he's sitting there smoking his dab pen, which everybody around us doesn't really know that's what that is because none of them are from the U.S. Right.
Right.
So the subject of Columbus comes up.
Yeah.
With our friends from London, and they start talking about Columbus as if he discovered America.
Okay.
And the 23-year-old goes off.
Okay.
And I looked at him and I said, stop it. He goes, what? I said, we're on vacation. We're on a cruise ship. And you don't have to attack these people who have a very different perspective.
Yeah, right.
It's different to have a conversation with them and maybe give them what our perspective is.
Yeah, instead of the snappy combat.
Completely combative, because it was like a boxing match.
Right.
But only one person had on the gloves.
Yeah.
So understanding the world around you, and understanding that not everybody understands what the narrative is. Not right. They don't. The perspective of Columbus in the UK is not that they've been sold that narrative. Right. And they believe it.
Well, and they haven't had to overcome it either, because it's they don't need to overcome it.
Right. They're the conquerors.
Yeah.
Right. They won the war, or
Well, win loss. Yeah.
Yeah. Back and forth. But I'm saying they don't live here. They don't see the carnage. They don't see the plight of the natives.
Yeah.
They don't have to see what the outcome of that looks like.
Okay, right. Sure.
And they don't have the daily, they don't have the economic struggle. Like, for instance, when I was in Fargo nursing, the native reservations there are a very, very, very sick people.
Right.
More so there than anywhere else I've gone.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my point.
Okay. All right. Okay. So conceptually, within what you just said, like the objective would be to acknowledge facts, not really skew things one way or another, right? Have an inclusive history. I mean, what does that look like?
Right.
And how do you get to it? And is there such thing as an inclusive history of these facts of let's say, multicultural nations or people or whatever? Is there
world inclusion?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But is there such a thing where each group isn't having their own tainted narrative, right? Self-serving narrative, or self-satisfying, positive narrative. And so do we do this on an individual basis too? I just want to feel good about myself. I want to tell a good story about who I am, right?
Right.
And I've been round in circles with this a lot, both personally and even in the discussions of the podcast. It's like, I like to think highly of myself. I want to think good of my good deeds. I want to minimize my poor deeds, right? I want to inflate my, quote unquote virtues. I want to claim altruism at the expense of the benefits that I get, right? Like, let's say, and anyway, this is all in the same soup, man. It's all in the same word salad, right? So you're a nurse, you're compassionate and caring and understanding, and you do a lot of, right? Let's call it supposed altruism or enlightened self-interest. Oh, by helping other people, I get the greatest return. Well, you also get a paycheck, right? You also get X, Y, Z. You get but if I just want to pat myself on the back, I'm just going to focus on the pure self-sacrifice of it, Yeah. So I think it's super hard to get to a narrative. And then down that rabbit hole seems the pathway of humility, right? So in any real sense, humility seems to be a full, accurate appraisal of, let's say, liabilities and assets, what's good, what's bad, what's accurate, what's inaccurate. Let's say a humble historical representation would take into account all of these various things. And then seeking neither favor nor condemnation where I have assets and liabilities. It's like maybe there's a middle of the road situation. Not middle of the road per se, but okay, mostly accurate, mostly inclusive, and not skewed narrative of who we are, where we're going, how we got here. That seems to me, individually, collectively, culturally, globally, that seems to me to be a path at least towards humility. We're not even on the path yet.
No. No, we're not.
Okay.
As a collective people, we're not.
Okay. Now add to that, you can't possibly be on the path because you have an illusory history, right? Absent the causal reality. Well, then who the fuck are we? Where the fuck are we, right? And if that's what you have to confront, then by all means we can do it. We can do it together. But now take a step back of what you're saying. Take a step back to we're being drawn towards certain self-satisfying narratives, or narratives just exist like in perpetuity, right? Like perpetual motion, that don't know if nobody sees that it needs to change, it's never going to change, right?
Right. Well, if you so this is a popular saying on Law and Order SVU, follow the money.
I don't know how I missed it. Sorry.
I don't know how you missed it either, but follow the money, right? Like, it's not going to change because it's going to damage. It's going to damage a lot of things for it to change.
Okay.
So if it's not beneficial to change it, then what's the benefit of changing it?
Okay, right. So there's a cost benefit analysis just in the change itself. For the interested parties who might stand to benefit,
or who might stand to lose.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But all right. But so if that was the analysis, you could say we've got the wrong incentives. There's no positive incentive to just keeping something the same.
I agree.
You can't, right. So a priori, you can't say, here's the benefit in the conservative mindset of not changing anything ever, right?
Yeah.
Now, you might avoid certain vulnerabilities if you don't make any significant changes. But if you don't do that, you're never going to grow. You're never going to see the liabilities of what you've been doing, right? You're never going to discover something new. It's like, Jen, you've dealt with the old guard, let's call them, patriarchal white doctors, okay?
Yep.
Well, at the risk of learning something new, they're going to reject input. They're going to reject new information. They're just not going to do it. So, and maybe it's, I'm not just limiting it to them, but it's just the old dog, new tricks. It's conservatism versus liberalism. It's like, let's try some new stuff and see what happens,
Right.
But in terms of narratives, histories, who benefits, it's like we're trying. What are you eating?
Opening a cheese package.
Oh, it's like we're trying not to upset the apple cart of the comfortable, right?
Right.
Because it might disrupt them, or take the pushback in even the multicultural, history arena, right? Mm-hmm. Or the 1492 project, whatever you want to call it. That's not what they call it. 1492. It's that's not the name of it. Sorry. But
where's that producer of yours?
Yeah, she just came back in with the dog. She was absent for a while. But anyway, my point is,
noticing that I'm gone?
She didn't know you were gone. We were talking the whole time. But so we don't want, let's say, the offspring of the imperial whites to think less of their ancestors. Therefore, we cannot teach the facts of our own history.
Yep.
I'm sorry. We're gonna shelter the way you feel about yourself, and your your ancestry, which got you here. We're gonna shelter you and the way your self-image at the expense of all the facts
and everything moving forward in all the future generations, just to protect this.
Yeah, it's like make up your own story about yourself and your culture, and that's factual. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's factual. Well, I mean, I can see why we do that, right? Because that's all we've ever done. But when is enough enough? When do you say, hey, no, we want an accurate representation of this stuff for reasonable people? But what you're saying also, so the British view of the narrative, the Columbus narrative, or these young people, their perspective, it's like, how do you invite someone to a discussion which is going to be transformative, but is also going to be discomforting, right? Mm-hmm. Which is going to disrupt whatever those narratives are. Mm-hmm. We can kind of see maybe the factual reality of how all this stuff originated. And then it's not a force feeding. It's just what's our objective? Our objective,
right?
Is it a humble, accurate representation of our personal history, of our cultural or global history?
Yeah.
And if that's the objective, then maybe we can all agree and move toward that.
Right.
But if
the same couple, our friends from London, a queen's never died in our lifetime. When the queen died, I sent her an email and I said, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say when your queen dies.
Right.
I've never been in that situation. Nobody alive really has.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry. Wait a second. Keep going.
I don't know what the proper thing to say is other than I'm sorry that your queen died.
Okay.
Everybody seemed to me, from my perspective here in America, to really love her. I don't know what that means for your country. I don't know what that means for you personally.
Right.
And then she called me and said, well, a lot of things here have to change. Our money has to change.
Yeah.
I didn't think about things like that. The queen is literally on everything.
Yeah.
But I that's not my reality. That I don't, so she was explaining to me all those things. But what I'm saying is I'm not going to presume to make assumptions about a place where I don't live.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the beginning of that discussion, which is very basic,
Sure.
I go to a lot of different countries and I don't make presumptions without asking questions.
Yeah.
I just ask questions.
Right.
And then make my decisions based on those answers of people who have the perspective, have the history, have the knowledge that I don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Huh. Yeah. Okay. And then I guess this all fits into the bigger global picture. It's like you can only change things. You can only change the world by each person changing themselves, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I'll change me. You change you.
Yeah. But then we'll compare notes.
Yeah.
I think that's the learning.
Yeah.
It's like, here's what I'm seeing. Here's what I'm learning. Yeah. Speaking of that. So, so super interesting. And again, tying it back to the book or scope or whatever, it's like you're just not going to know what the changes are until people experience them, right?
Right.
And then, like when she talked about changing the money, you're like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. So now your understanding changes.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I just passed it along to whoever listens to this.
Yeah. Okay.
And somebody else says, oh, yeah.
Wow.
I hadn't thought of that.
Right. Does that mean the old money's no good?
I don't think so.
Or in the case of the Queen, is it worth 70 cents on the dollar? Sorry.
I do have some of the old money, though.
Wow.
Maybe it's worth more.
Yeah, well, maybe so.
That's possible.
Well, maybe it could be. Yeah. Maybe you could trade it in for some,
King Charles.
Right. Or I was thinking some new crypto exchange.
No, thanks.
Yeah. The exchanges are the bad part, man. And these issued tokens, we're going to issue tokens that have no value.
Well, there's, I don't know. Chase got into that cryptocurrency thing.
Well, I think there's good. Yeah. I think there's good parts. I think Bitcoin's all right, but these other create them out of thin air tokens seem to be disastrous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of creating out of thin air, anyhow, what else? So Kennedy's good. Your daughters are good. I emailed occasionally with Smash Alasha.
Yeah.
She seems to be doing all right.
Yeah, she's doing good out in Arizona.
Yeah, I told her she's in charge of our Arizona popular discussion distribution. You got to go around talking to people about it. So,
all right.
No, maybe not.
Yeah, waiting for her to decide that she doesn't want to live in Arizona, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, well, maybe when they run out of water.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
I want my kids in the same block as me. Marina gets it.
Yeah, well, I guess, yeah. What? But even that.
Marina gets it. She's 3 blocks away.
Well, isn't that a 50, 60, 70-year-old trend where we could just pack up and move and go anywhere, and you could always take a flight back, whatever, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the idea, but then you don't.
Well, I mean,
you don't take a flight back.
Well, once every couple of years, maybe.
Right, but that's not enough.
No, but that's better than never.
Well, I suppose. The problem for me, like I really enjoy visiting with my family, but they're spread out all over the U.S.
Yeah.
So in order to see them as often as I want to, I would just spend all of my time traveling, which, I do.
Yeah.
Spend all my time traveling, but I have to work sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you?
So it really gets in the way.
We called Grandma last Sunday. Talked to her for a bit.
Oh, did she spend the whole time saying what?
No. We called her, she on her phone. She's got a digital readout now.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so she just waits to read the words.
Right.
And
it's a delayed conversation.
Just slightly, but
yeah,
it's way better than no conversation at all,
Right, for sure. Yep.
So yeah, that's going on. I would love to go visit Anna in her new farmhouse.
Yeah.
So I went back. Did I tell you I went back to Steve's for 2 days, 2 days last week?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I just stopped there on my way to Appleton and saw the dash that you did.
Oh, nice. Okay. So you stopped into the shop and said hi?
I did,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Good. I'm trying to get you guys not to talk about each other on your podcasts.
Oh, did he talk about me?
No, not really. I might have mentioned you a time or two. Just that
so
you and
you're trying to get us not to talk about each other, but you talked about us?
Yeah, something like that. No, I just was referencing that you and I had talked and did a podcast. So anyway.
All right.
So, all right. Well, we shall. We can pick this up, from here. I'm super, I don't know, tentative, excited, I guess, maybe too. It's like, what does that conversation look like as I start to release these podcasts and release, the channel video, like the story? I think it represents how this all happened, obviously. But it puts into context, why are we having all these podcast discussions? What's the point, It's just me talking to friends and family, whatever. But, drilling down, I think, on this accurate assessment, the perennial questions, humility, like that's the deal, man. And so how far do we have to dig? How much of the unraveling of the rabbit hole and this historical tapestry, how much needs revision? And the answer seems to be all of it. And,
right.
And so that starts somewhere, maybe it starts with these conversations, and then it moves on, and it grows in its scope and the people involved. And then maybe each person can do it within their friendship circle, within their family, is take a look at these things, take a look at this history and or what amounts to a new history, and really talk amongst themselves, talk amongst ourselves of what does this mean? How do we readjust to this? Obviously we want to prune what's not good, and we want to try on some new stuff that seems to be good. We want to keep what's working, get rid of what's not working. So it's really I think there's a fantastic opportunity there. And so that's really the motivation for having these discussions. So, yeah. And then we'll do some updates, just kind of bring people along, you included, everybody else. It's like, how is these final stages, let's call them, or what does the writing look like? What does the modeling look like? Right. And then is also in the popular discussion, what kind of shit show does that look like? Right. I'm saying,
wait, are you saying that you're in the final stages of the book?
I'm saying marching towards publication.
Oh, we're getting towards the final stages.
I would say we're in it. I would say we're in the final stages.
All right. Well, that's cause for celebration.
Yeah. Well, oh my goodness. Yeah. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But ultimately, people, we just want to share these ideas and get people's feedback, obviously, and then do some testing, experimentation, partner with different people to, flesh out the research, that kind of thing.
All right.
So that's kind of what we're doing. But I appreciate you listening for these 14 and a half years. I think. Yeah, something like that. Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was waiting to see. I mean, you're welcome.
Yeah, that's all you can say, I guess.
Even if you didn't have a book at the end, I probably still would have listened to you for these 14 and a half odd years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about the journey. Everything, nothing's ever really complete, I guess, in this big cycle of things in life. There's no completion, is there? Isn't everything just an evolution, cyclical evolution?
I guess so.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
All right. Enjoy your day, sis. Love you.
Love you too.
We shall talk some more. Stay tuned for more Rephetic conversations.
Is Miss Patty there?
No, she's taking her morning nap. It's about 10:30. It's morning nap time.
Okay. Well, tell her I said goodbye.
I will. All right. Love you, sis.
All right. Love you too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
To know who we are, and where we're going, we must know how we arrived here. Welcome to Rephetic, a revolutionary study of the Great Pyramid, which promises to rewrite civilization's history